Hello, everybody. Uh, the show is called TBR Solution, Debt Counseling Made Easy. So, in this show, we are explaining what debt counseling is. Because a lot of people, they want to know about debt counseling. But, in most cases, when they want to know, they are already having problems. So, they just jump into debt counseling, but they don't understand. So now in this segment, in this particular show, we want to make it easy for you. We want to explain all what is involved. This could be good for anyone who's thinking to go under that review or anyone who's already under that review to understand what should be done and what not should be done. So those are very important. My name is the Saubrey Boyz Walefatshe from TBR Solutions. I'm joined by my partner in crime, Elias Shamatla. This guy is a consumer right activist with a whole lot of knowledge in terms of financial matters, in terms of credit, what is happening with credit, and so on. So he's here to explain counseling. Mr. Shamatla, welcome to the show. Kindly greet the viewers.
Good evening, Tate Chabalala, and good evening to the viewers. It's always an honor to be here.
Mr. Shamatla, we started explaining the fees, and
Yes.
you explained something very, very powerful, which I think most of the counselors are not aware of what you explain in terms of fees in actual fact are paid by the creditors, not necessarily the consumer. That was a very powerful statement, that you shared with our viewers and us here. Now, the last time as we're explaining fees, you explained very well that the first payment, second payment, and all that, after care, you explain all those things. And then you also differentiate between a debt collector and a debt counselor because the two are not the same. A debt collector and a debt collector and a debt counselor are not the same. So you have explained that one very well. So I don't know whether you still want to start there and clarify any gray areas that need to be clarified.
Well, I think we have covered everything in that respect.
All right.
However, just to reiterate what we said about the fees, and for somebody who is watching this for the first time, when we speak about fees technically being paid by the credit providers, we mean that the first payment that you should distribute to the credit providers have agreed to take that first installment of theirs and pay it over to the debt counselor. So when I, as a consumer, you are not impacted by this.
Yes. In fact, it helps you to solve your problem because you know the problem with people, they know that they have a problem, but for them to take action and start dealing with their problem, it's a mission. All right? It's a mission because they start thinking, they start procrastinating, they start doing all sorts of things. All right? Whereas, what is important, you need to start taking action. At the big R, we have the method that we call the READ method. The READ method, which is READ. So R stands for response. You get information, what do you do with it? You must respond. You cannot just sit down and procrastinate and think that things will happen. And then E stands for effort, extra, energy. It's going to take you energy and effort and the extra commitment. When I say extra, even extra money, if you want to really get out of debt, you should try by all means to ensure that you take extra efforts. The A is the most important one. Take action. Don't think about it, You know what, Mr. Shamatla, what people do? Once they get information, they start asking their so-called experts, all right? And who are those so-called experts? their colleagues, the people that they work with. And then the people that they work with pretend to be debt counselors or financial advisors, and they are not, and try to explain something that they don't even understand. So they mislead people, all right? So you must take action, all right? I know people say, no, I cannot act because I have fear. Well, fear is a normal spirit. Everybody has fear. No one who doesn't.
True.
But what is clear that people need to understand, fear is not from God. God does not encourage fear. If I am to demonstrate that, David was to fight Goliath, and David was fearful. God said, step up, go out there and do the job. And what did he do? He killed Goliath, and then David became the king of kings. All right? He ran all the nations, David, because of that noble act that he did by acting. When Moses was going to release the Israelites from the Egyptian, Moses was fearful. God says, don't be fearful. Just go in there, do what you are supposed to do. I've given you the order, okay? Order, not necessarily I'm informing you. I've given the order to go and fetch the Israelites there. So God does not encourage fear. Yes, it's normal to be fearful, but how do you deal with fear? That's the most important thing. So you need to act. Don't just sit there and think about it. Because once you think about it, now that's when now fear comes in. And D stands for decisiveness. You have to be decisiveness in a determined way, a dedicated one, in a very disciplined way. So you don't have, there's no two ways about it. So that's the real method from the big R. So you have explained it. For them now is to take action. They must start saying, oh, okay, I've got debts. What do I do? Let me go and see a debt counselor. And you explain it very well that you can talk to the creditors yourself, but it's temporary. If you can explain again, why are you saying it's temporary? But the debt review process is much better compared to you talking to the creditors on your own. If you can.
Yes, sir. Creditors do not have a permanent rearrangement policy. They only have temporary policy for arrangements. In other words, they will tell you that we can only make arrangement for 3 months, maximum 6 months, not further than that. So it means that after 3 months, 6 months, you are back to square one. For example, if your installment for the car or the house is 5,000 rand, and they agree that you're going to pay 4,000 rand for the next 3 months. After 3 months, they are saying, we now need our 5,000 rand and plus the arrears for the past 3 months when we're paying less. And by that time, they are no longer smiling with you because they say, we give you a chance. Take, for example, a lady who goes on maternity leave for 4 months, and then she has only UIF, which is not even sufficient to take care of her needs at that time when she's when she's on maternity leave. So when she goes back to work or during that period, she makes arrangements with creditors, and they say, okay, for 3 months, 4 months, it's okay. You can pay interest only. Fine, fair enough. When she goes back to work, they say, yeah, you have got arrears for 4 months. We now want those arrears. She doesn't have money to settle the arrears. She only has got money for the installment. That's when she starts losing her assets because they're going to take legal action. And if she doesn't apply for that review, it's all the way down.
I'm happy about that explanation. I hope our viewers do understand. Mr. Shamatla, somebody's listening now. He's saying, oh, okay, I hear now. This is what should happen. Now I want to take action. What are the requirements for a person to go under that review?
You know, that review is one debt relief solution, or it's one service that you can get from a professional, somebody called a debt counselor, whereby you can approach that money with that person with that money. You do not need money in hand to go to a debt counselor. You go there for free. You call the debt counselor for free and say, I am over indebted. I want you to assist me to rearrange my accounts. That counselor is not going to say to you, before you talk to me, you have to pay X amount. No.
Mm, mm,
There is a system, there is a process on how to deal with the fees.
mm.
So all that you need in your hand is your 3 months bank statement, 3 latest pay slips, proof of address, ID, your credit report if you have. If you don't have, you must at least have the list of the accounts that you have, and then go to the debt counselor. And that counselor is going to let you complete Form 16, which is the application. All that it entails is the personal information, your name, surname, ID number, address, where you work. That's it. From there, the debts that you have, and the debt counselor is going to process that information and come up with a budget.
Now,
and then, yes.
Okay, yes. You say?
Listen, so now that the debt counselor has got a budget, he will tell you that, okay, Mr. Villagas, going forward, you're going to need X amount to pay your debts. Let me be specific. You're going to need 6,000 rand to pay your debts. Your net salary is 10,000 rand. So 4,000 rand is for your living expenses, household expenses. That's your groceries, school fees, whatever the case might be. And then this 6,000 rand is the one that we are going to use to pay your debts. Your monthly installments on your debts are 10,000 rand. When I've got only 6,000 rand. So every month, you are going to pay 6,000 rand to the Payment Distribution Agency, or PDA, which is the company that is going to collect and distribute payments on your behalf. So in other words, you don't need money upfront to pay the fees for that counselor. That counselor will wait for your month end. When you pay the first installment of 6,000 rand to the PDA, and the PDA is going to pay that counselor his fee. Let's say, for example, somebody was at your doorstep to repossess your car, and you went to the debt counselor without upfront payment. That counselor will do his job, will notify the creditors that you are now under debt review. They must stop the legal action that they are undertaking. So in other words, you are now safe. So basically, in short, you just need paperwork. To identify yourself, to provide proof of income, because if you are self-employed, you will have the proof of income, of course. If you are working for a salary, you will have a pay slip or salary advice. Then your accounts, proof of residence, marriage certificate you have, if you have, ID, all those figure documents. That's it.
Now,
and that counselor is going to work. That counselor is going to work out how much you're going to pay.
Okay. If you explain the reason why a person has to bring proof of residence, I heard you mention FICA requirements. What is FICA? What is FICA requirements? To make it easy for many in the street there to understand, what are you talking about when you talk about FICA? In relation to debt review.
When you opened this session of today, you said this is going to be that counseling simplified. So let me simplify it for somebody,
exactly.
Yes, who might not understand. FICA documents are those documents that identify you as a person and where you live. Because we have got compliance requirements in the country. To put it in a simple way, when you buy a cell phone and you get a new SIM card, there is an act called RICA. You have to RICA your SIM card, meaning you have to identify yourself. You have to give the company that is selling you the SIM card your ID and proof of residence. Why? So that if there's a crime committed, the authorities know where to find you. The same thing as the FICA documents. Should there be a need to find you, everyone knows where to find you. Because most of the people do not update their records, even with the credit bureaus. That's why we'll hear people saying they've been placed under tracing alert. Let's say, for example, you owe the creditors money and they don't know where to find you. The minute you apply for credit anyway, and you provide your proof of residence and the ID, then that credit provider will know where you are. Oh, now he's staying in Tembisa. Oh, now he's staying in Orange Farm. So basically, it's for the prevention of crime.
Yes. It's for the prevention of crime. Mr. Shamatla, debt counseling made it easy. You have explained it very well. I'm sure people who ever want to ask more questions, you're more than welcome. You'll see at the end of the show, there's a WhatsApp number. Drop us your questions. I'll forward them to Mr. Shamatla. The next show will be explaining those questions, or will be answering those questions. And below there is a website. You can go to our website too, and you can also leave those questions there. Mr. Shamatla, thank you for your time. I know that you are a very busy man, so many activities that you're involved in, but we really appreciate you coming all the time whenever we request your assistance to explain this difficult subject or intricacy called debt counseling. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Do you want to say the last words before you go?
I'm saying whoever that is watching this program now, tomorrow morning, conduct TBR on those contact details provided. Don't let credit providers serve you someone when you have got assistance here on your phone.
Absolutely.
Because you are using your phone now or laptop watching this program. This is the assistance that you're going to need to prevent you from being sued by the creditors.
And then you said it last time, debt review, it's more about legal protection, because everything is legally oriented. When they take your car or your house, they will apply for court order. So you must use the same medicine, the medicine that they are using to repossess your assets to resolve your problem. Am I right?
You are right. And if I can add on to that, we said we are closing, but let me say this is important. It's so nice when somebody calls you and say, hey, we haven't received payment. And you say, don't talk to me, talk to my debt counselor.
Yes. Don't talk to me, talk to my debt counselor. The pressure has been lifted on your shoulders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can sleep at night.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Shamatla. Until we meet again next week, Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad.